you for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and we have a new guest in the studio. We have Dahiru Majid. Thank you for joining us, Dahiru.
Thank you very much.
All right. Welcome to Journalist Hangout on Sunday. All right. There's a saying that there is no true democracy until the voices of women are heard. In the spirit of this, a group of women under the aegis of Ondo State women groups want the All Progressive Congress, APC, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to reserve the deputy governorship slots for women in the November 16 governorship election in the states. Members of the group said this will foster a more gender-sensitive political environment and promotes the creation of an all-inclusive policy for women. Let's share the story by TVC News On with you.
According to a report by the Endowment for Peace Development in 2023, women's representation in politics in Nigeria has been on a downward slide since 2011. For instance, the number of women in the National Assembly has fallen by 19% compared to the last assembly, as women now occupy 3% of seats in the Senate and 4% in the House of Representatives. This group of women gathered in Akure, Ondo State capital, for their inaugural meeting to champion more gender-sensitive and all-inclusive government policies. The women under the aegis of Ondo State women groups clamored for a female deputy governor in the state.
A more gender-sensitive and all-inclusive.
In a communique read by one of its leaders, Adebimpe Adeniyi, the women called on the political parties participating in the November 16 governorship election to nominate women as their deputy governorship candidates.
Women, we are not fighting. We are soliciting for our rights in Ondo State. We want a woman deputy governor, so that somebody that we can carry our problems to, that we, being a woman, a mother, that she will consider us.
Others who also hammered on the need to have a female deputy governor asked for 35% of appointment in the public sector for women.
If you look after Agagu, Biniko, the number of female in the cabinet, we don't think is right. If you have a cabinet of 18, we are believing that minimum 6 should be women commissioner.
We want to wake ourselves up, because we can see from the level of appointments done so far, we can see that women are not really too many so far.
We deserve it, we can do it. In fact, I would say we can even do it better. Wherever woman is, we are mothers, and we always, bring the best. Members
of the group also stress the need for women to be united and use their numerical strength to seek elective positions. Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News, Akure.
Dahiru, when you look at the political calculation, okay, a state like Ondo State now, the major political parties, they've chosen their candidates from the southern senatorial districts, that the APC and the People's Democratic Party. So the calculation will now be that, oh, is it I get somebody very strong from the central senatorial district as deputy, and they will be looking for a politician that is, has stature, that can bring in the votes. So the calculation sometimes is skewed against women.
Well, yes, particularly in this instance, because we do not seem to have, many very prominent or powerful politicians that appear to be women in this particular state. Ondo is a very important state, but notwithstanding, democracy essentially entails inclusion. Without inclusion, you can't actually call a system truly democratic. For the purpose of equity, fairness, and justice, the leading political parties in Ondo have gotten it right in terms of sub-ethnic inclusion by zoning to the southern part of the state in order to give that part of the state a sense of belonging. That is quite commendable. However, inclusion also includes gender inclusion, and it's very important, because we don't want people to take it for granted that leadership positions in Nigeria's kind of democracy is exclusively preserved for the men folk. So I would think that a delicate balance or compromise should be struck in this instance. It's a legitimate concern that the women are raising, and it's good at speaking up, because if they don't speak up, they can be overlooked in the struggle to actually win the state by the two leading parties. So I believe that with this demand now, this gender inclusion agenda of Ondo State women will be included in the permutations towards picking a running mate, because you can also overrule or whittle down the influence of women when it comes to voting. So whereas
they use them when they call them, they play major role when it comes to campaigning and voting.
Have powerful politicians in the arena now that are women. But with this kind of demand, women might decide to say, look, we need to use our power of voting to negotiate this position. And I think something can be done about that.
Actually, well, sometimes our culture, our religion, sometimes are major factor against women. Some people don't want to watch women to talk.
They get in the way.
They don't want women to talk.
They get in the way. I think in the far north there's a lot that needs to be done, to bring more and more women into mainstream politicking. A situation in which you look at Kano, for example, so many elective positions, and you ask yourself, not one woman. In the House of Assembly, no woman. In the House of Reps, they have, Kano and Lagos have the highest number
of
representatives in the House of Reps. No woman. Senate, no woman. Women are a lot easier to mobilize on election day than men. And they come out in good numbers. The governor of Imo State, just before the election, decided to drop his deputy and picked a woman. The governor of Adamawa State also dropped his deputy, a man, in favor of a woman who was the vice chancellor of the state university. So, at the end of the day, the women responded well. Seeing someone like them on the ballot, they supported both candidates. I didn't know that up till now, in the whole of the Southwest, your state, Ondo, is the only state that is yet to produce a woman as deputy governor. So when it was one of the complaints that they made, that in the Southwest, despite the fact that Ondo people pride themselves as educated and all that, that is the only state yet to produce a deputy governor. I don't know whether they are correct, but I'm sure they've seen.
In recent times, I've not seen.
I've not seen a woman as deputy governor in that state. How about your state? Has Oyo ever produced a woman as deputy?
I've not. Not since 1999 that I know. But I know of the Oshun, Tomori, Ogun, and Lagos.
So I think that they just feel that if Lagos can produce a woman as deputy governor, what is why shouldn't Ondo produce? I was reading that, and I felt so Ondo has never produced a woman as deputy. So all they want is gender balance and inclusion.
Somehow,
I don't think that there's anything wrong in that. Let's give our women more opportunities to be involved in political decision making and even get involved in elective contests.
All right, Adekule is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for holding on, Kule.
Good afternoon,
all right, go ahead.
Let me give my man, give me some gift. Really long time. Nice to you. And what to do here with our weapons. Yeah, I want to actually say something about the security issue we discussed earlier. But let me just summarize and say this. A nation can lose resources, it will survive. A nation can lose strength, it can lose breastbone, it will survive. But a nation that has lost its patriotism, if a matter of time, it will go down. That's the thing about it.
Thank you, Adekule. Thank you, Adekule. Now, as a child of necessity,